Epic and Google get cozy. Claude, Vimeo, and Galaxy Trifold pricing. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by Squarespace. Get online, build your site, promote your brand, and get paid all in one place at squarespace.com/MacVoices. Use the offer code MacVoices for 10% off your first website or domain purchase. There's so many things here I want to get to, but I'm going to throw this one in because Jeff gave us this one, I believe, if memory serves correctly, that Meta is going to test premium subscriptions on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp.
Yep. The headline says it all. Okay. So to go a little bit deeper into this, what Meta is doing is setting up like multiple subscription things to try out different things and see what works. But part of their thing is, hey, we're going to give people new tools. We're going to one of the things they're touting is make you more productive. How are you going to be more productive if you're spending more time on Facebook?
Yeah.
But
Great.
anyhow, yeah. So my take on this, it's multi-layered. The first layer is, are you serious?
Yeah.
Come on. But then next layer is, okay, I can get why professionals that are using these services and like you're doing the social media for whatever corporation you work for. Okay, there's extra tools that you might need to be able to do that. Sure, charge those people for that. But then the next level is, come on, seriously, you're already charging people for what's essentially a soul-sucking service, and now you want to charge them for more.
Jeff, when I first saw this, my first thought was, it's awfully coincidental that they decided to bring something like this out with extra features for those things when Apple just did this last week with Creator Studio. It feels very much like a Me Too thing, like, oh, Apple figures they can monetize this, maybe we can too.
I think it's just coincidence, actually. Sometimes a coincidence really is just a coincidence. This is something that I'm sure that they've been working on for a while, because they're always looking at new ways to monetize us. And us can be individuals or companies. But the timing, yeah, maybe this would have looked a little bit better if they announced this a week ago instead of now.
Yeah. Guy?
Yeah, what possible tools could they be giving people on Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp that's going to make a damn bit of difference to 99% of the people that use those services on a regular basis? I mean, sharing recipes, do we need special tools to share recipes and photos of our pets? Is this something that we're all concerned about now? Is that something we need?
But the answer to your question is no, we don't need that. But if you look at this from the perspective of who's using Hootsuite, who's using all of Zoho Social, whatever, the people, the companies that are paying for those social media management tools, I think that's the target audience for Meta with these things. It's not people like us that want to complain about how crappy the weather is or want to show a photo of the breakfast we had with a friend. I'm thinking of you, Guy. I would have totally done that with you.
First watch, jazz hands.
Marty?
Yeah, Jeff kind of got to what I was thinking with the idea of incorporating some tools that you use for social media. I use CoScheduler, and that means I can batch schedule stuff and releases to various social media. that might not be built into some of these services. I haven't used these services to any extent because of their soul-sucking nature. That I can see that as being an add-on for it. I kind of disagree with that. This is because Apple did it. I think Apple is enhancing their productivity suite, and they're giving some enhanced, we don't know yet, aspects of it. Brian suggests, being able to clean up and use AI to clean up your presentations. I think that's great. But this seems more like it's tied into their monetary structure in terms of getting money, not just from having our data, but how we go ahead then and use and distribute the data.
The big difference between what Meta is doing and what Apple is doing is if you buy Final Cut and Logic, you're looking at $500. So for what is it, $12.99 that they're saying for this subscription
a month? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're getting these amazing tools that you may not want to spend $500 on, but $13 a month. Yeah. You've got some solid value there. Whereas if it's just some tools to help you do Facebook and related stuff, where's the value there? And, okay, maybe for some companies it would be worth it, but how much are they going to spend on developing something like this with probably not that great of a return?
I do. Oh, Eric, I want to make sure I get you in, just because you're sitting there looking very wise and nodding your head a couple times. And
the rest of us are looking stupid.
No, I didn't say that.
Carefully staying out of this, thinking, yeah, okay.
No. I got to pull you in. We haven't heard from you tonight.
Safe.
This seems like a good time to bring you in. You and your yellow rumped friend.
Let the bird talk.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a tweet in there somewhere. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Aren't you sorry you asked?
Yeah, I really am. Yeah. So, okay. All right.
That's on you, Chuck.
I'll let you off the hook. Unless, do you have any? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I think everyone that has any sort of social media platform is trying to figure out ways to pull in extra money. Just harvesting data about people isn't enough now. There also is it's kind of like, how do you keep everybody's attention, and how do you keep content providers on your service versus somebody else's service? So I think this is just kind of continuing what Meta's been trying to do for the last few years, and that is to create a relevant product that people want to use. This is just another attempt at it. I give them credit for throwing something else at the wall. I don't know if it's going to stick, but why not?
Well, one of the things I thought they might do, and I just threw a couple links in the chat rooms, is maybe they could actually offer guaranteed encryption, because they're being sued over whether WhatsApp really encrypts your messages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but they've kind of earned this thinking that I don't know that I trust them. That's one of the reasons I have very, 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 very limited use of WhatsApp, because it's a Meta product.
Scammers too.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of reasons not to trust Meta. And, you look at this and think, well, okay. I don't know. Speaking of lawsuits and speaking of hypocrisy, stealing an article.
God, what I do now?
No, calm down, Jeff. Stealing an a note here. I'll throw it in the chat. But I'm sure that everybody probably saw that there's an Epic deal going between Epic and Google that is under quite a bit of scrutiny, that Google will get $800 million in Fortnite antitrust settlement. And now suddenly Epic and Google appear to be in bed together doing some kind of deal. And the judge is questioning exactly when this deal was made. And yeah, it just any moral high ground that Sweeney claimed to have is pretty much gone.
He did not have moral high ground, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that, Jeff, but some people seem to think that he did. So that,
He's not the Ben Kenobi of the tech universe.
Okay. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, so I don't want to run us over too far. This one is just sort of interesting. Did anybody see the Anthropic rewriting of Claude's guiding principles?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
That they're concerned that Claude might have feelings, or that it might develop feelings, and that they need to take that into account as at a base level here as things are developing. Is this just like science fiction mumbo jumbo? Do you think there's any legitimacy to some of this and what the thinking is? Because it does seem like there have been a lot of Claude things in the news recently. There's an agentic AI version of Claude out there that is apparently, my interpretation from the articles I've read is it's about as close to the knowledge navigator as we've ever seen. But I haven't used it and haven't seen it. Jeff, you have thoughts.
I always have thoughts. All right. So the first part of this is holy forking shirtballs. Seriously, the whole idea that tools like Anthropic or ChatGPT or Perplexity or whichever one it is are at a point where we need to start thinking about whether or not they can actually think and reason. Spoiler, they cannot. The nature of what these tools are, it is literally impossible for them to do that. They cannot evolve to do that because that's not what they are. And it's not a path that they can go down. So all that part out of the way. There is a part of this where I'm like, okay, this is actually smart. And thinking about if we get to a point where AI tools can have some level of reasoning that goes beyond I won't even call it reasoning. Right now we have if then branches, which is not reasoning. But if these tools get to a point, it'll be different tools. But when they get to a point where they can reason on some level, we need to be prepared to train and use them in a way that makes sense for the way they operate. And I think that's really the foundation of what Anthropic is doing here. And thinking about how we train and manage and monitor those types of tools today, even though we're probably years away from anything that resembles that. That's smart. We should be having those discussions now, and we should be figuring out how we're going to deal with those models when or if they become a thing now, instead of waiting for them to roll out and then being like, oh, crap. How do we actually manage these in a responsible way?
So
Jeff,
Jeff,
I wish you wouldn't disparage my girlfriend that way.
It's not your girlfriend, Marty. It's everyone else's. Yours is fine.
Now you're telling me she gets around.
No, what I'm telling you is that yours is special. Guys isn't.
And unfortunately, there are a group of people who, whether we want to believe that these things are capable of their own, decisions and souls and things like that, there are people who believe that and interact that way with folks. That's what scares me a little bit about that more friendlier S lady that we're going to be having this summer. I don't need a chatbot. I don't like talking to people, let alone artificial intelligence. So there are going to be people that this is going to be their best friend now,
Yeah.
They don't like talking to me, Marty.
You're a bot. If you're a bot, I can handle it.
Beep, beep.
Me, Eric.
Every time the phone rings, I'm gonna forward it to the S lady and let her talk to whoever is calling.
That's brilliant.
A document kind of written as if it's rules for Claude, I think, is silly. But a document describing intentions for how they want a model to react and deliver responses, I think, is a really good idea. A way to measure is what you're getting outside of what was intended by the model. That's just really nice. And I think every model should have some sort of guidance document of this is the type of thing, the type of way of the ways we believe this model should behave for these types of situations, so that if you get a response that's way out of the intended behavior, that you can then file a bug report and say, hey, we're getting responses that are just unreasonably bad, or the advice coming out in the situation is inappropriate, or no, we don't really want you to undress all of our people in the classroom. That would be bad. This podcast needs to be covered with clothing.
Yes.
And if there's a document that says, yep, podcast pictures should be clothed appropriately, and you don't get that, then you have a way of saying, hey, this isn't behaving correctly, especially if you're going to generate a model for use in a business or for use in a classroom setting. Having a bunch of guidances about what you should expect and what so that something is out of bounds or out of the expected, I think, is a good idea. Writing it as if you're trying to protect the model from whatever, I think, is stupid.
Okay, so that's interesting, because the way I read this is more about us treating the model appropriately. You're saying that it should be about how the model is treating us.
Well, there's already been cases of people who have committed terrible acts to themselves and they were talking to a chatbot every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I personally have a real problem with blaming the chatbot.
No. This isn't a matter of blaming the chatbot. I mean, it's going to be garbage in, garbage out, no matter how you look at it. The problem is when people put in parameters that are not necessarily good for their mental or physical health, and the chatbot is just going along with it, then there needs to be some flags that get raised by the people that are controlling the chatbot. And in the past, that hasn't happened all the time.
I mean, they already have some minimal protections saying that you can't create biological weapons with whatever the model is. A guidance document that says the model shouldn't try and kill you isn't really out of bounds, right? Or if it's allowed because it's a creative model that's supposed to bounce ideas off of whatever for writing or something, okay, maybe then you should expect that you could have an untimely death because it's a model for generating mystery scenarios. It would be nice if there was a document that told you that before you started seeking advice.
Eric, let me push back on that. Do you think that, do you think that the kind of person that would be using a chatbot for those purposes and listening to the chatbot would bother to read the article or read the read the instructions essentially for the chatbot?
No, but if you have a group of students getting together to design a student-based self-help chatbot, maybe they wouldn't pick that particular one.
Okay.
And there are a lot of those out there, right? There aren't enough services for students that are having problems. One of the big things out there is, go talk to a chatbot because they'll listen and right. And there isn't necessarily any oversight, but it still is being used as somebody at least needs to listen. So some guidance saying, maybe you can only do 4 sets of interactions and it forgets after that. So you can't have a long drawn out 2-week discussion that sends you over a bridge.
Okay. So is the guy who's not going to go over the bridge because a chatbot told me to, though, do I really want it to have that kind of limitation? Because if I have an extended conversation with it about a business I want to start or a project I'm working on, I don't want it forgetting what I talked to it about yesterday or 2 days or 3 days ago.
Then the guidance document says, yep, you can have longer term conversations, but don't use it for, mental health purposes.
What they could do is set up certain buzzwords. And you could have a pretty extensive list of those buzzwords that at some point, if either the chatbot generates it or the person that it's talking to generates it, that it gets flagged and immediately goes to an actual live person for review. I guess, but the problem with that, of course, is privacy concerns.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's I don't know where the middle ground is on that.
Just send it to another chatbot.
There's no reason why people who have mental health issues should be segmented to a chatbot. We're having this discussion now in our field, and one of the ways of looking at this is that they become augments to therapy, not a substitute for therapy. So, as a therapist, what I'm going to do is sit down with you and have a regular session. Well, maybe not with Guy. But sit down and have a
good luck getting that nut cracked.
Yeah. Having a session, and part of our conversation will be: have you been using your internet tool? What's the interactions been like? What kinds of ideas have you shared with it? So you bring it into the therapeutic process. You don't use it as a substitute or just an adjunctive piece that you'd never really engage about. So,
Marty, in that situation, would you say that the chatbot should be a specifically designed chatbot as opposed to Claude or ChatGPT or Grok or whatever?
There are some on the market right now that are better than others, but I think the first thing counselors have to do is to ask clients if they're using any type of augmented reality device or chatbot. That's not something we used to screen for, but people are turning towards apps and towards chatbots for their mental health and balance.
Well, isn't part of the problem also that a lot of people aren't comfortable talking to a therapist or to a real person, and knowing that it's a chatbot that gives them a sounding board to put out the ideas that, good or bad, that might be floating around in their head without having a face-to-face conversation with someone, because social anxiety is a real thing.
Oh, yeah. But there's ways of doing that without coming and sitting in my office. There's ways that you can do it just over the phone. There are all sorts of ways in which you can engage with a real person and minimize the anxiety around the social anxiety. I mean, I talked to teenagers while they stood behind a tree hiding from me in my day. So there's ways around social anxiety. And it really is kind of a personal. If I'm an adult and my doctor notices I'm depressed, my doctor should be talking to me. My physician should be talking to me about what kind of help am I getting. If I'm an adolescent and I notice, my parents notice, or my guardians notice that I am not engaging with people, that's a conversation you need to have with kids. The ones where they just go off and get kind of self-fulfilled fantasies about killing themselves are ones that are kids that have been forgotten or set aside.
Marty, I think I've got this about right, but I'm pretty sure it started during the pandemic. But every time I go to see the doctor, they go through the usual questions. And one of those questions is, have you been depressed in the last couple of weeks? And I think I asked him at one point, why? And they said, well, because post-pandemic, we were seeing so much of it that it had to become something we regularly screened for.
Yeah.
So I had no idea it was, it had gotten to that level. And I think it's really interesting that it's a part of a world I don't know, that people turn to chatbots because they're depressed or they want somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
I have you guys. Oh boy, am I in trouble.
I can suggest a good chatbot for you, Chuck. It'll do both of us a favor.
This MacVoices episode is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to build, grow, and manage your online presence. If you're creating content, whether it's blogs, podcasts, videos, or a full business site, Squarespace gives you powerful tools to get discovered. You need to be found. Squarespace's built-in SEO features help your site show up in search results automatically, with clean page structure, customizable metadata, and analytics that show you what's working and where visitors are coming from. Need video on your site? You've got it. Squarespace makes it easy to showcase video content with fast, responsive layouts, embedded players, and pages that look great on every screen, large and small. Whether you're highlighting a product, promoting a show, or building a media hub, your content looks polished without needing extra plugins or technical workarounds. And when it comes to getting started, Squarespace simplifies domain acquisition. You can search, register, and connect a custom domain directly from the platform, keeping everything, site, brand, and identity, in one place. If you're ready to build a site that looks professional and works hard for you, start with a free trial at squarespace.com/MacVoices. When you're ready to launch, use offer code MacVoices to save 10% off your first website or domain purchase. That's squarespace.com/MacVoices and the code MacVoices for 10% off your first website or domain purchase. Thanks to Squarespace for supporting MacVoices. Hey, I got two more that I want to bring, and these are not really, there's not a lot of discussion. Just one is to follow up on our discussion a little while ago about Vimeo being purchased by Bending Spoons. I'm throwing an article in the chat that if you are interested in that, you want to read this article because it is about how Vimeo got to where it did and kind of what has been happening since then when Bending Spoons took it over. And frankly, what happened when Bending Spoons took some other things over. So read it if you're interested, but I don't know. It doesn't bode well for Vimeo, at least as we know Vimeo. And if you are into Vimeo, great. And if you're not, that's fine too.
I thought this article was really interesting. Thanks, Jeff, for bringing it up. I've been a Vimeo customer for 10 years. And actually, very little of this was about Bending Spoons. It was all about how Vimeo management has screwed up the company over the past 15 years.
Yeah, and I too, Jim, have been a Vimeo customer for a long time. and it's disturbing to see what was happening. If I look back and think, did I see any indications? I might have seen some as an end user, but not a lot. It'll be interesting now to see what happened. But I saw some posts on LinkedIn just today that were posts on LinkedIn that just today, pretty sure it was today, that Bending Spoons had laid off like 1,500 people from Vimeo. So, again, for what it's worth. Lastly, to wrap up, just under the heading of absurd, take a look at the article I just put in, and you will see the proposed price of this new Galaxy Z trifold.
Ka-ching.
Yeah, which is insane.
Did
Absolutely
you see it at CES?
Insane. No, I did not. But I never go to those booths, David.
That's true.
So
I never go to those booths.
Yeah.
Goes to other booths.
I go to other booths where things are a little more realistic. But they're saying it's going to be around $3,000 US.
Yeah. Pocket.
All of a sudden, that Vision Pro that Eric and Marty and David have been trying to get me to buy seems a lot more approachable.
Yeah.
It's like a steal.
I'm going to pass on this phone.
I would hope so, Marty. You have to resist.
Yeah. No, there's nothing there.
Well,
the Pixel 10 is perfectly fine for what you, what you have.
How big is the screen in total?
I think one panel I think is 6.5 inches, right?
Yeah, so it's like a 10-inch tablet when it's unfolded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering,
with two really great creases right through the screen.
Is Samsung still pushing that windowed environment for their phones?
No, they got the Z Fold. That's a current model.
No,
right
I'm talking about DeX. Took me a minute to remember it.
I don't think so.
Like where you plug it into the computer and take advantage of the screen? Is that it?
No, it's basically taking the Android operating system and giving it a windowed interface in such a way that you can plug in a mouse and plug in a keyboard and use it as like a regular computer.
I believe this one does support DeX mode.
DeX, not DeX.
DeX. That's right. DeX. DeX.
You were doing a Star Trek reference there, guy. Yeah. Brian?
Yeah, I was just thinking it'll be interesting to see how much it sells. I mean, from the cost perspective of, nearly $3,000, but also just the idea that, the foldables are a subset, and then now it's a subset of a subset. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you could buy a very, even if you're going into Samsung space instead of Apple, buy a flagship of their phone plus an iPad will still save you money.
I want to be careful how much we pick on this, even though I'm the one that brought it up, because look, we all, who would have thought we would spend what we do for our iPhones, but I feel like that's been a gradual evolution, and it's when I spend that much money on an iPhone, I know what I'm getting. This is a whole new category. This is even a subcategory of a subcategory because it's a trifold. So. Am I going to spend $3,000 for a really completely unproven product? I mean, forget the iPhone versus Android debate, but just I don't think I'd spend $3,000 if it were an Apple device.
I hear these are going to be really popular in Utah.
State operating system.
On that basis,
the picture is not good either. The picture, if you look at it, it has kind of the reflectivity where the fold is at, and it looks pretty
crappy.
Yeah.
Cheap. Yeah.
It doesn't look like a screen that should be on a $3,000 phone.
No.
Yeah. Or $3,000 anything.
That
Guys,
hole punch is. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Brian. What?
I was going to say that hole punch on the right side looks odd too, compared to. I would think it would be in the middle.
I hadn't even noticed that. That's, I assume, the camera punch.
Yeah.
Huh.
See, I think they should have added three cameras to it, and they could have put 3 punches right straight down the middle of it, and then you could have stored it in one of those ring binders.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Binders.
we're getting punchy. We got to get out of here.
Yes, we do.
Oh, guys, thank you so much. We got through almost everything tonight, but a lot of interesting insights. I learned a few things along the way. I learned a few things about you guys that I'd probably rather not know. Let's go around the room and see where you can find these folks, and then we'll get out of here. Dave Ginsburg, thank you for being here. Where should folks connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me at In Touch with iOS, intouchwithios.com. We're going to have plenty to talk about this week. I just was going through my show notes, and there's going to be great stuff to talk about this week for us. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/intouchwithios. You can find me on Vision Profiles on Monday nights with Marty and Eric. We always have a blast talking about Vision Pro here on Tuesdays, talking about the Mac and everything else. Thursdays, we record the In Touch with iOS show. Fridays on the Mac show on the British Tech Network, as well as I'm on Blue Sky and Mastodon at DaveG65.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Flanigan-Arthurs, thank you for being here as always. Where can folks find you?
I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me. Best place to find me and to connect with me is on my website, brian8944.com.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Marty Jencius, if I had a tree, I'd hide behind it just to ask you where folks can find you.
You can find all the products and projects that I do at thepodtalk.net. Monday nights with Vision Profiles with Dave and Eric. Tuesdays here with this great group, and then Thursdays with Dave on In Touch with iOS. Up to a bunch of new projects right now, and just started one this week. I'll mention 15-minute bites, BYTES. And I've already received a recipe from Guy Serle, and I understand that Jeff was talking about some bison stew, and I have a key lime pie recipe coming in. This is a 15-minute show where we tech friends talk a little bit about tech, and then they each provide a recipe. And the first one was out a couple of days ago with my son doing a Turkish kind of spread called esma. So take a look at it, 15-minute bites.
Excellent. Thank you, Marty. Congratulations on the new show.
Yeah.
Jim Ray, thank you for being here. What's the best way for folks to find you? Do you hide on Vimeo?
I don't really promote the fact that I'm on Vimeo. Every now and then somebody will get a notice that somebody's following. It's actually a ProView account there. But mostly I just use Vimeo, probably the same way you do. The videos are embedded on the ProView website. So, all that stuff in that article was mostly news to me because I never used Vimeo that way. I never cared about their discovery tools or, a lot of the stuff they were talking about. I just use it as a place to, publish videos. So no, don't go look for me on Vimeo. If you want that, you could find me at proview.com, or you could find me on Mastodon at ProView Jim at techhub.social.
Okay, I got nothing. Thank you, Jim.
Can't even see what that is.
Yeah.
It was the little Mastodon plushie.
Oh, the Mastodon.
What are you talking about?
I think it has tusks. Yeah.
Yeah, your background is blocking it.
This guy came from Germany. This is an official Mastodon plushie.
Nice.
Oh. Okay.
Your background was blocking it. That's why I couldn't see it.
Sorry.
Norbert Frassa, do you have a plushie that you're going to share with us, or should we just find out where you're going to?
Nobody will ever see my plushie, Chuck. Nobody.
Oh, I don't know. I bet we could.
They're doing wonderful things on Grok right now. You might be interested in that.
Yeah. Eric's on the floor.
Yeah. Oh. Well, where should we find you, Norbert?
Well, If you are looking for me in the dozens and dozens of videos that are coming out from MacVoices on our CES coverage, you won't find me there because I was behind the camera. But if you want to tell me what a lousy job I did of filming Chuck at CES, you can reach out to me at norbert@macvoices.com or Norbert Frassa on all the socials. And we did go to that booth, but we did not go to the other booth. So you know.
And I can give you a hint, and I haven't even told Norbert this. He does make an appearance in one of the videos because
with my plushie?
No, not with your plushie. No. But you are reflected in one of the screens.
Oh,
so highlight that.
Yeah. So no. You're going to have to go and watch all the videos and see.
It's an Easter egg. There you go. Find it. Whoever finds it wins a prize.
Yeah, it's
it
perfect.
Reflects well on you, sir.
Oh God, guys, Serle. I look forward to the day when you grow up. I really do.
I don't.
I don't.
Never will happen.
Where can folks find you?
At the Funny Farm. No. Over there on Twaxter and Skies of Blue, I am Mac Parrot and Vert Shark. I do the G-Men show with Gaz as, we're coming up on 16 years together. I think in March. 16 years I've been doing this. What's wrong with me? There's also over on the Tubes of You there. My channel is the Vert Shark channel. I've got, I think, like 700 plus videos over there. All kinds of stuff related to not just the My Mac podcast and the G-Men show, but Mac to the Future and oh God, what was one of
Blast from the past?
So many things that I have done in the past, but they're all up there on YouTube for better or for worse. Yeah, but the main thing, of course, is the G-Men show. And thank you, Chuck, for allowing me to come on, and to Dave for allowing me to come on and In Touch with iOS, even though I am kind of an agent of chaos.
Yep.
Thank you.
Don't everybody jump in to defend me at once.
No.
We're going to have to start calling you Siegfried. You're an agent of chaos.
I am.
Yeah. Agent 000. Guy Serle, agent of chaos.
Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here.
I'm amazed you thank me for being here.
I appreciate all your wisdom and the rodeo explanations and everything. It's great. Where can folks connect with you?
Well, when I'm not sending Chuck pics of my plushie, you can find me on the social medias as J Gamet, most active on Mastodon and PixelFed and Blue Sky. And then for shows here, because for some reason Chuck lets me come back to MacVoices Live. Dave keeps letting me come back to In Touch with iOS. And then on the British Tech Network, the Big Show and the Mac Show. And then Brian Chaffin and I do the Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Chuck, it's always a blast.
Eric Bolden, I was going to go for a yellow rump joke, and I got nothing. So I'm just going to let it go. Where can folks find you? And you are muted, by the way, Eric.
Clicker just does not work. One day I will have one of those button panels, and all my life will be made simpler. Thanks, Jeff.
Sure thing.
I can be found on Mastodon at eabolden@mas.to. Otherwise, let's see. Mondays on Vision Profiles with Dave and Marty. Tuesdays, of course, here on MacVoices Live. And Thursdays on In Touch with iOS, kind of migrating through the week on each of the different OSs and rounding up with all sorts of interesting stories.
Yep, like tonight. Lots of interesting stories.
Yep. Mostly.
Hey, I wanted what guy?
Mostly true.
Yeah, well, that's true. Hey, I definitely want to say thanks to the chat room. They were very talkative tonight. Really appreciate you guys being here and sharing some of your comments. You keep us honest because you don't always agree with us, and I love that. Mac Voices Live is Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. We would love to have you join us if you're watching this after the fact. If you're watching us during the fact, then please come back next Tuesday. We'll be here. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.